Alex, you sounded urgent.
There's an entire agenda afoot to force the population to undergo different type of medical treatments, namely vaccines. We're seeing a medical tyranny being set up, not just in the United States, but worldwide under the UN and the World Health Organization. And that's why vaccines are so important. We know that many of these vaccines turn out to have serious adverse reactions, that this is being done by design.
What else could Alex Jones have been right about? Tucker Carlson recently interviewed Alex Jones on his show. The tides are turning, and concepts like the Great Replacement Theory are no longer conspiracy theories, born on the fringes of society, but an actual possibility.
Why do you think they hate you so much?
Because I do read their documents and I do read their books, and we were effectively getting a lot of people in the military and the intelligence agencies who were compartmentalized and who tuned into my show and saw my films and read my books and things, and they clicked with it, help people expand their awareness that we're inside the government, inside corporations, was triggering a lot of whistleblowers, was triggering a lot of people not going along with the program. And so really my sin was decompartmentalization of the population.
Are you the only person in media who actually reads these reports?
I don't think a lot of people do read them, but I do read them. I mean, I'm currently reading MIT reports from their top counsels, Pentagon reports. They have a working group called the Mad Scientist Group at the Pentagon that works with MIT.
The late, great Rush Limbaugh used to see that they would put out these reports on Friday, and there was always these secret kind of late hour releases of these reports. So it's interesting that how accurate Rush Limbaugh was about things as well, and how accurate Alex Jones has been.
My most accurate prediction, going back over a decade, was when I read the Rockefeller Foundation Operation Lockstep, and they described using a virus to bring in world government, to bring in a world medical ID, that they would then build the social credit score off of, and that they would make people wear masks for fear, and that they would shut down sporting events and things like that, and basically phase in this new tyranny. So I was also able to specifically make that prediction over and over and over again, because I was going off their own battle plans.
We just dismiss it as they didn't really say that. They wouldn't be taking over the government through the World Economic Forum. They wouldn't do any of that stuff. Seems to be this very dismissive way that human beings operate on a regular basis. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that it forces people to think, and that forcing people to think it disrupts their comfort.
There were a lot of white papers, not just the PNAC document from 2000, a year before 9/11, where they describe we really need big terror attacks, we really need Pearl Harbor events to get Americans to give up their rights. I mean, take what just happened in Israel, totally tragic. My heart goes out to all that have been killed or lost loved ones or been injured. But there's no way that one of the best intelligence agencies in the world didn't know that was coming. The massive buildup, the 5,000 missiles, the paragliding attacks, all of that. And so there was clearly a stand down there. And now the West will take more of the people's rights. Israel will be able to crack down and take more of their people's rights. And now they're not pointing the Homeland Security apparatus at the Russians like they did in the Cold War, or the Islamists after 9/11. Now they admit that their main focus is Christian conservatives and the bitter clingers and the people that live in rural America, that quote, white people, I mean, it says that in the report, are the main terror threat. And so this whole apparatus of the war on terror, it has now been turned inwardly against the people, not just here, but also in Europe.
There's nowhere for American white people to go to. This is our home. This is where we're from.
So they're waging war against civilization and society to make us poor, to put us under siege, cut off our energy, make the cost of living impossible, to break our old system, to bring in something even worse. And that's the Cloward and Piven strategy that the Democratic Party has adopted. They've done the same thing in Europe. This is a plan. The central banks have unlimited money, but they can't buy all the infrastructure up because people aren't selling. So they've got to crush us and make people so poor that everybody's forced to sell their business, their intellectual property, their physical property, but more importantly, to turn over our bodies to them. We're a UN treaty that Biden right now is, that's what I call Biden, is Biden is trying to ratify, would literally put our bodies under the control of the United Nations.
I think the real enemy is not Donald Trump. It's not even Joe Biden. It is the deep state. Why am I the only person on the stage, at least, who can say that the Great Replacement theory is not some grand right-wing conspiracy theory, but a basic statement of the Democratic Party's platform?
It's government that's the problem.
So that's really what this is. And then they use the threat of global warming. They use the threat of a virus. They use the threat of radical Islam to take our rights. But we really are the target.
And this genius can't wait to get us into World War III.
Nowhere is that more critical than accelerating the climate crisis, than the accelerated climate crisis.
People seem to think if they ignore Alex Jones, then it would somehow make what he's saying magically go away. Thanks for watching.
Check you later.